guys, welcome back to the Magma Chamber. I'm Jason, and today we're going to start a new segment for the channel. This is something called Bands We Love. So we just pick a band that either I or Michael or both of us really like and kind of go through their history a little bit, their discography, and give you our thoughts on them. Today we're going to pick a band that's one of my favorites. They've been a favorite of mine for a long time now, and that's the band Darkane. So Darkane, I feel like, is an extremely underrated band. They don't get mentioned enough. They've been, I guess, on hiatus for a few years now, but I kind of wanted to bring these guys to light because I feel like that there are still some metalheads out there that have either never heard of them or never really listened to them or given them much of a chance, and they are wholly worthy of your attention. So let's kind of talk about Darkane a little bit. They formed in Sweden in 1998 in the ashes of the band Aggregator. The band members at the time when they formed Darkane were Christopher Malmström and Klaus Eideberg on guitars, Jorgen Lothberg on bass, Peter Wildor on drums. Peter actually did a little bit of time in Arch Enemy, played in Pestilence, and actually was one of the drummers that auditioned for Dream Theater when Mike Portnoy left. He was one of the finalists, actually. I mean, of course, we know that Mike Mangini got the job, but Peter was one of the guys, so that tells you how good of a drummer he is, and he's one of my favorites. Kind of reminds me of Gene Hoglan in style a little bit, so this dude is awesome. And on vocals, we had Lawrence Macquarie. So in 1999, a year after they formed, they released their first album, Rusted Angel. Rusted Angel is a fantastic record. It's extremely wild. If I had to describe the style of Darkane, it would be technical thrash with some melodic death metal elements, and a little bit of progressive and orchestral elements in there. They put orchestral intros and interludes in some of their, all of their albums really. Orchestration is kind of a big part of their sound as well, but it's not overdone. It's very tastefully done. And I get a little bit of an industrial feel, just a little tinge kind of in the background, and I think that one of the things that makes Darkane cool is that they're able to use kind of this mechanical sound, but it still sounds like it's being played by human beings, if that makes any sense at all. So it's a good balance there. Still sounds like, you know, not everything is triggered and really polished. It's still sounds like it's played by human beings. So as far as their first album, Rusted Angel, it's incredible. I mean, for a debut album, it just came out of the gate. Very thrashy, very technical, very, if I could compare them to a band, kind of strapping young laddish in its craziness, and just everything is just in your face and fast and heavy and technical and just kind of those screams, like those Devin Townsend type screams that you get in SYL. And just incredible. Great album right off the bat. Really cool album cover. There's a song on the album called The Arcane Darkness, which I think is kind of how they get their name. The name comes from the words dark and arcane, and they just put those together and you get Darkane. So 2 years later, in 2001, they released their second album. They signed to Nuclear Blast and they released the album Insanity. This brings about a change in the vocalist department with Andreas Seidel taking over on vocals, and he's with them for a while. His style is very similar to Lawrence Macquarie, even though he doesn't seem to have as high of a voice as Lawrence Macquarie does, but still kind of has that range, just kind of high screams, low screams, these kind of screamed melodic parts. You know, not everything is just really clean. There are some kind of cleaner cleaner choruses and things like that, but it's not just beautifully sung. It's kind of more screamed in key, I guess. You get a little bit of kind of a Meshuggah style in the mechanism and the mechanical sound of it. It's almost like if Meshuggah was more melodic and the vocals were a little bit more sung and melodic, you might get something that sort of sounds like this. Insanity, for me personally, is probably my least favorite Darkane record, even though it's still very good. I'm just going to say it now, Darkane has no bad records, not even anything close to it. The album title is still very appropriate. Insanity is just crazy and all over the place. Just a great record. I probably wouldn't start with this album if you're new to Darkane, but a little later on, kind of catch up to it. So just 1 year later, they released the album Expanding Senses in 2002 on Nuclear Blast. This brought them a little bit more notoriety. This was kind of, with this album, this was the first time I'd actually heard Darkane. I heard the song Innocence Gone, which is one of their best songs. It's, they kind of used that song to close out a lot of their set lists. Great, just stomping, almost kind of a testament, kind of just drive to it in some ways. Very cool. I heard that song on a Nuclear Blast compilation in '02, and I remember getting to that song. It was about halfway through the compilation, a lot of different bands on it, and I'm thinking, wow, what is this? This is awesome. Found out it was Darkane, and so not long after that, I just started kind of diving into their stuff, and I loved it. So this was my introduction to Darkane, was the album Expanding Senses. They changed their logo up on the cover, which it still looked really cool. The album cover was really cool. I dug it. It stood out to me. In the liner notes, there's the picture of the band, and they're all in white, almost like they would work in an insane asylum or something like that. They always kind of had a weird style with their band photos and everything. Very interesting. But another great record. This one kind of seemed to hone things in a little bit. Maybe not quite as all over the place, but just kind of, it seemed heavier to me, like just a little bit more straightforward, but still very good. The song Chaos vs. Order, they bring in ex-vocalist Lawrence Macri to do vocals on the song with Andreas, so you get kind of the trade-off with the higher vocals of Lawrence and just the deeper vocals of Andreas. So very cool song. 3 years later, they released the album Layers of Lies. This record is probably their best record, in my opinion. This was the first Darkane album that I bought, and it was really after this record, not the last one, that I kind of went back and started really listening to their other albums. Layers of Lies, I remember when Last Rites, the website, used to be called Metal Review, they gave Layers of Lies a perfect score, and I agree wholeheartedly. It was just, everything was just fine-tuned and sharpened to a fine edge. Fantastic record. Layers of Lies, if you've never heard it, check it out. The title track is great. The song Organic Canvas was the single from it. Just incredible stuff. Still very thrashy, still very technical, very melodic, just great guitar solos. The drumming was incredible. Can't say enough good things about it. They don't really start playing anything too far out of their wheelhouse. I mean, they're kind of in this pocket that they play, but everything was just lined up perfectly and just great stuff. They have the orchestral intro, of course, and just a few more melodic and orchestral elements throughout the album. But terrific album, check it out if you haven't. With Layers of Lies on the tour they did behind it, I was lucky enough to see them in Fort Worth, Texas with Strapping Young Lad, Soilwork, and Fear Factory. Darkane was the first band to play, then SYL, then Soilwork, then Fear Factory was the headliner. And SYL pretty much blew everybody out of the water, let's just be honest. If you were lucky enough to see Strapping live, incredible. But Darkane, man, they kicked it off, and they did a great job. I was hoping that their set would have been a little longer. I think they did maybe 5 songs, but man, they killed it. And I'm very happy that I was able to see them live. 3 years later, they released the album Demonic Art, this time with another vocalist change. This time they get Jens Bogren from the band Defaced. I had never heard him before, but I was a little bit wary about what the new vocalist was going to sound like and stuff, but really he fit right in, and I thought he did an incredible job. To me, he sounded like a good combination of Lawrence and Andreas, man. He just kind of took the higher stuff of Lawrence and the lower stuff of Andreas and put it together perfectly, but still kind of had his own style, but wasn't too far out of what Darkane was already doing. So it was a great record. Weird album cover in the long history of weird Darkane album covers. This one to me seemed to kind of be a combination of Layers of Lies and Insanity. It was a little bit more frantic, sort of like Insanity was, but still had the maturity of Layers of Lies. So Metal Archives, the rating on it is 65%. I don't know why. Don't believe that crap. This record is awesome. picked up right where Layers of Lies left off and just keeps driving it home. But Demonic Art is fantastic, and if I'm being honest, this is probably one of the albums from their discography that I come back to the most. It just kind of has everything I like about the band. So it was great. 2 years after Demonic Art, they released the live album Layers of Live. This was a CD DVD combo. The DVD had a lot of different live clips from different shows. They did some history of each album kind of thing. So a lot of features on this DVD that were really cool. So 3 years later, this was kind of the longest period in between their albums. They released the Sinister Supremacy, this time on Prosthetic Records. They had a label change. Lost their vocalist again. Who would they get? They reach all the way back to the first album. They bring back Lawrence Macquarie from the very first album. So this album features the exact same lineup as Rusted Angel. So a lot of fans are really stoked about this. Like, yes, man, they're bringing back Lawrence. What's it gonna sound like? And to me, this record, I don't want to say I was disappointed in it at first, but it seemed like they took their foot off the gas just a little bit. The choruses were a little bit cleaner. Lawrence seemed to have a little bit more maturity, a little bit more control over his vocals. But he's still doing the higher, raspier style, the cleaner choruses, and even throws in like some lower death metal type vocals on this record. The album is, it picks up right where Demonic Art left off. There's still the thrashy element. This one is a little bit more technical in spots, and I noticed, I was listening to this again the other day, one thing that Darkane is good at is taking really technical parts, but then kind of streamlining it to where it's a little bit more straightforward. It's hard to explain, but you just kind of have to listen to it to know. But I feel like this is a band that's talented enough that they could probably pretty much play anything. The guitar players are awesome. Peter Wildoer is awesome. Their vocalist, no matter who the vocalist has been incredible. So the Sinister Supremacy is a great album. Probably a little bit more mature, but not anything too far out of the wheelhouse. They still have the orchestral intro and some of those elements in there. But man, they stay the course. Don't play anything real outside of their wheelhouse. They just picked up right where they left off and still sounded great. And when I listened to it again the other day, I wasn't as disappointed as I was when I first heard it. I felt like it fell right in, and it's a great album. So what's happened since then? Where are they? Haven't heard anything from the guys. They haven't released anything. 2 years ago in 2019, they did some 20th anniversary shows for Rusted Angel. I believe they played the whole album all the way through, but nothing since then. Their Facebook has a few things on there, but mostly the old clips from old concerts and stuff, maybe some guitar playthroughs, but nothing other than that. Metal Archive shows that they're still active, but nothing. No news of new material. Don't know if anything's being worked on. Nothing. So, if you're a Darkane fan and you know something about the band that's going on, leave it in the comments, man. Let us know. I really hope that they are working on something and they're just kind of they have a sense of humor about it and they're just not wanting to let anybody know until they just have something to reveal. But nothing. I know we did our most anticipated albums of this year, and I would love for Darkane to be in that list somewhere, and they are. I mean, I think they would be for me every year. But guys, in Darkane, I doubt you're ever going to see this video, but if you are, please let us know what's going on with you guys. Are you working on stuff? Are you leading family lives? You have kids and all that, and you're busy with that kind of thing? Trust me, I understand if that's the case. But I know that I and your fans would love to hear some new material from you guys. Just throw us a bone, let us know what's happening. And if you're new to Darkane, please check them out. I'm going to put some links in the description below of some of their other videos and things like that. Check out all their albums, they're great. And so hopefully here at the Magma Chamber, we hope we were able to kind of turn you on to some new bands, or not in this case, not new, but maybe some new bands to you that you've never heard before. And if you're a Darkane fan and have been for years, tell us what you think about the band, what's your favorite album. So let us know. Check us out over at Instagram on the Magma Chamber at magma_chamber_metal. And until next time, Darkane, we love you. We hope to see you again soon. And for you guys out there, keep head banging.